Addod Solutions. Add-on desired.
Hello viewers, welcome to Addod Solution Daily Current Affairs. I am Lokesh Penugunda. This session is designed for aspirants who are preparing for banking, groups and such other competitive examinations. We cover news articles from both the Hindu and the Indian Express, making use of this session. Our first article is dealing with the maiden joint naval exercise between India and 3 European Union nations. So, I am saying that this is a maiden joint naval exercise. Maiden means first ever joint naval exercise between India and 3 European Union countries. So what are these 3 European countries which will be participating in the joint naval exercise? These will be Italy, Spain and France. And the name given to this joint naval exercise is INEUNAFOR. So, the name given is INEUNAFOR. It stands IN for India, EU for European Union, NA for Naval, FOR for Force. So, India European Union Naval Force is a name given to this joint exercise, and they are doing this joint exercise at a place called as Gulf of Aden. Gulf of Aden is the place where they will be doing this exercise. Next, we have an article which is talking about collaboration between the CSIR and the Tata group. When we have seen the first wave of the coronavirus, we have seen a majority of these infections getting only in the urban areas, whereas in the second wave, what we have witnessed is infections and deaths not only in the urban places but also in the rural areas. We even have seen infections in nomadic tribes living in Odisha as well. So, to increase the COVID-19 tests in rural area, the CSIR, which stands for Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, it stands for Council for Scientific and Industrial Research. This CSIR body along with the Tata group has collaborated to increase the rural testing. How would they able to do that? They will do this by starting mobile testing laboratories. So, the Tata group and the CSIR will start mobile testing laboratories, and these mobile testing laboratories will be going to the rural areas and conduct COVID-19 tests. Next, we have an article where the United States President Mr. Joe Biden has signed into a legislation which is giving the United States a holiday on the Juneteenth. So, what is this Juneteenth, on which a federal holiday has been declared by the United States President? Juneteenth is nothing but June 19th, and the reason for giving a holiday on the Juneteenth is in the year 1865, a United States general for the first time has proclaimed that all the slaves living in the state of Texas are free. So, you can understand that for the first time, slavery has been abolished in the state of Texas, which is a state in the United States. So, as this proclamation is done on the June 19th of 1965, every year the African American communities has been observing this June 19th as an important day, and that's why the United States President has stated that from this year onwards there will be a holiday on the June 19th to observe and to celebrate this occasion. Next, we have an article where the Prime Minister has launched a crash course to train 1 lakh COVID warriors. When the COVID-19 has struck the country, we have seen how the number of doctors and how the number of medical personnel in the country are comparatively less than what is demanded. So, to help the medical community, to help the COVID warriors with additional force, the Union government has started a project to train 1 lakh COVID warriors. So, people who are interested, they can enroll into this program and they will get a 2 to 3 month training program, and they will join the front line to help the medical community in providing vaccines, in providing other medical help that may be needed in the hospitals. Next, we have an article which is dealing with the passing away of Mr. Milkha Singh. Mr. Milkha Singh has been an important sports person in the country India, and he is even given the title of Flying Sikh. Mr. Milkha Singh, whom you can see in this image, is belonging to the track and field sport. Track and field, that means running. And not only he won gold medals in the Asian Games, but also he won gold medals in the Commonwealth Games and in other international arena. So Mr. Milkha Singh is widely respected sports person in the country India, and now at the age of 99, due to COVID related complications, he has passed away. Next, we have an article which is dealing with the UNHRC's Global Trends Report. So first we'll see about the Global Trends Report. This Global Trends Report is given by an organization called as United Nations Csir. It stands for United Nations Council for the Refugees. So you can understand that this is an organization relating to the refugees. And for the year 2020, the report of global trends has been given. So what do you mean by global trends? This UN organization will look into the number of refugees that are being taking place in the entire world every year. And according to its 2020 report, which is released yesterday, the number of refugees has been increased from 79 million to 82.5 million nearly. So there is an increase of 4% in the number of refugees. So what do you mean by refugees? We can see this with an example. When the Myanmar army has started using brute force on the Rohingyas who are a community living in the Myanmar, they fled from Myanmar to Bangladesh. So if a person is moving from one place to other place to safeguard himself from persecution, from death and from other reasons, then you will call him as a refugee. And last year we have seen how millions of people have to move from Ethiopia's Tigray region. Last year we have seen a conflict between the Ethiopian government and the Tigray state government, which is also a state of the Ethiopia. And in this conflict, millions of people have to move from Ethiopia to neighboring countries. And apart from Ethiopia conflict, we have seen conflict in Afghanistan, Libya, Lebanon and even lately Gaza. So these people, when they move from one place to other place, they will be called refugees. And according to its latest report, 1% of the entire world's population are currently refugees. You should also know that this is a report given by United Nations High Council for the Refugees. HC stands for High Council or the High Commissioner. Next, we have an article where the Reserve Bank of India has granted the in-principle approval for setting up of a small finance bank, and this small finance bank that will be set up by the Centrum institution along with Bharat Pay will take over the PMC Bank. First, we'll see about this PMC Bank. PMC stands for Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank. Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank. 2 years back, there was a huge scam that shook the Punjab and Maharashtra Cooperative Bank, and as a result of this scam, thousands of crores has been lost by the bank, and now the bank has nearly 5,000 crore losses in the year 2019 and 20. And due to this issues with the bank, the RBI has kept several restrictions on the amount of money that depositors can withdraw, and the RBI as of now allows only 1 lakh rupees per depositor to be taken away from this bank. So to prevent the bank getting collapsed, the RBI has stated that doesn't matter how much money a depositor has in the PMC Bank, he can only take 1 lakh as of now. And as the bank is reeling under huge losses and stress, the RBI has finally approved the takeover of this PMC Bank by a small finance bank that will be set up by the Centrum Financial Institution and Bharat Pay. So now the Bharat Pay, which is a startup, and the Centrum, which is a financial institution, together they will start a small finance bank. And after starting this bank will take over an existing bank called as the PMC Bank. So we'll see the important provisions regarding the small finance bank. Small finance bank can take deposits and can distribute loans. It can distribute mutual funds, insurance products, and other simple third-party financial products. Apart from this, it have to lend 75% of the total adjusted net bank credit to the priority sector. So we'll see about this provision in detail now. It stated that if you have a small finance bank, it will have to provide 75% of its credit to the priority sector. So what is this priority sector? Central government and the Reserve Bank will state what all sectors coming under the priority sector. And now, if you have a small finance bank, this bank have to lend 75% of its loans to the priority sector. Priority sector includes agriculture, MSME, education, and even startups. So these are some sectors that comes under the priority sector. Now we'll see the other provisions. Maximum loan size would be 10% of the capital funds to a single borrower and 15% to a group. Next, minimum 50% of the loans should be up to 25 lakh. These are some provisions, and you have to remember at least the first three provisions, which are really important. Next, we'll see what this bank cannot do. So we have normal banks like the State Bank of India, the Hdbt Bank, the ICICI Bank. These are general banks. And now, as we're talking about the small finance bank, we'll see how these are different from the SBI and other such banks. Small finance banks cannot lend to big corporates and groups, and it cannot open branches without the prior RBI approval. That means if a small finance bank want to open up a branch within 5 years of its existence, then before starting this branch, the small finance bank will have to take the RBI's prior permission. Next, other financial activities of the promoter must not mingle with the bank. So you have to remember at least these two important points from the small finance bank. Next, we have an article where the Andhra government is considering a proposal to make schools within 1 to 3 kilometers from the student homes. So let's say there is a person A, and this person is just a small kid and he wants to go to a government school. Now, if the school is really far, he might not go first, or even if he go, he might not go regularly. So first is not go at all, next is not go regularly. So by absenting from the school, the child will not get quality education. So to increase the attendance percent, to increase the enrollment percentage, and to prevent the absentees in the students, the Andhra government is planning to start new schools so that it can cater to children within 1 to 3 kilometers from their home. So this is a significant proposal which is being considered by the Andhra Pradesh government, which is worth to be copied by other state governments. Next, we have an article which is dealing with the International Yoga Day. We'll just see on which date this International Day is observed. Every year starting from 2015, the International Yoga Day is observed on June 21st. So on June 21st, world over, they observe the International Yoga Day. So why am I saying that this day is being observed only from 2015? The reason is the United Nations General Assembly has adopted this resolution of International Yoga Day to be celebrated on June 21st only in the year 2014. So as this proposal was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly only in the year 2014, from 2015 onwards, world over, countries are observing the International Yoga Day on the fixed date of June 21st. Next, we have an article where a conservative cleric who is a religious person is tipped to be the Iran new president. Yesterday, there was a presidential election in Iran, and a person named Abraham Raisi, who is a cleric in Iran, is stated to be the new president of Iran. As we are talking about Iran, we should know certain things which are relating to the elections of Iran. Iran is not a complete democracy, rather it is a theocracy. So what do you mean by a theocracy? Theocracy means the government being run by religious people or religious institutions. And in the first image, you can see Mr. Ayatollah Khamenei. He is the supreme leader of the Iran. That means he is technically the head of the Iran. And this person is not elected by the people, rather he is the religious leader of Iran, and that's why he is called as the supreme leader of Iran. And he gets huge powers when it comes to running of the government. And the real power, that is whatever power the supreme leader does not have, that will be with the Iranian president. In the image, you can see Mr. Rouhani, who is the outgoing Iranian president. And now we'll see about the election procedure. In India, if you want to contest in an election, you have to first register with the Election Commission, which is the election regulating body. Similarly, even in Iran, they have a body called as Council of Guardians. But one thing you should know is that the Council of Guardians will only shortlist people if these people are having similar views as of the Council of Guardians. We can see this with an example. When there was a Iran presidential election that took place yesterday, nearly 700 people has filed their nomination to contest in this election. But this Council of Guardians has shortlisted only 7 people. So, you can understand that it is not the people who is definitely the winning power behind the elections, but rather the Council of Guardians itself is removing a majority of the people who wants to participate in the election. So it is not a full-fledged democracy. Next, we have an article where the United States government and the government of Turkey has brought into an agreement, and it is agreed in the agreement that the Turkey will secure the Kabul airport. Last week, we have seen in a current affairs video how the United States and its allies are leaving the Afghanistan soil. That means after 20 years of war with the Taliban, these United States and its allies troops are leaving the country of Afghanistan. But to maintain some surveillance and to make sure that these troops could leave the country of Afghanistan in a safe manner, the Kabul airport, which is being used by these troops, should be secure. And the United States and the government of Turkey has come together to safeguard this Kabul airport, and it is stated in the agreement that United States will provide enough funds and Turkey will provide manpower. So it is the Turkish officials that will man and that will safeguard the Kabul airport from now onwards. Next, we have an article which is talking about sale of illegal Hdbt cotton seeds. We'll just see regarding the cotton production in the country. In the country of India, the highest cotton is being produced in the state of Gujarat. So Gujarat is the highest cotton producing state in the India. Next is the state of Maharashtra, and later we have the state of Telangana. So these two are important cotton producing states when it comes to India. And you should also note that India is one of the top 3 cotton producing countries in the world. And with this, we have come to the end of this session. Inform about Addod's initiative to your other aspirant friends and you can visit our website to attempt mock test based on our daily current affairs. Thank you for watching.
Addod Solutions. Add-on desired.